Welcome to Tuesday night. Thanks for being with us on behalf of First Amendment Sports. I'm Ken Meringolo. He's Kevin Ricca.
It's Fat Tuesday, and we've got a lot of stuff to talk about.
Dude, thanks. I appreciate you. I mean, I'm bringing the creamy biceps tonight, but you noticed about the rest of it that I'm bringing, and I got to work on that. It's something, you know.
Are our deboner showing? Is it
my deboners are showing?
Sorry, I'm late.
For sure.
I couldn't find anything to cover it. I just went old school Redskins and just thought I'd let it go.
Welcome to what do we got? Robert Cohen, Greg Martin, EO, Tom Meringolo, NES Tecmo. Hopefully I said everyone's name there. That's hanging out with us so far. Cool Tuesday to be a Redskins fan, and that's like, you know, top of the top story for free agency. So I thought kind of like the manner in which we're attacking the offseason is our number one priority. Our top mission in the offseason is
stop the run.
Stop the run. So exactly. And as much as the story that we're going to dive Broner first into is great.
No helmet.
But at the end of the day, the cool thing is we still have a ton of money, and we still haven't even really taken our shot, so to speak, for that defensive piece. Let's just get right to it.
Yeah.
Deebo Samuel, a Redskin, 1-year deal, 17-ish million. That aside, he's healthy. He's incentivized, motivated. He's 30 years old. He does exactly what we do. He does what he does, fits us perfectly. No one throws more screens. He likes to get the ball on the screen. He can do everything. We'll talk. I know you have tons of numbers on that.
Everyone knows. I'm not shocking anybody, but yeah.
The coolest part about it to me is this is the first in this regime, in this brand new 1.5, 2-year-old era, that this is like the first big guy to want to come here. I mean, he could have gone other places. Ultimately, a guy like Deebo has to agree to that. But he's a player's player. He has earned the respect of every single person who's ever worn the pads and the helmet. I watched his game against Green Bay the other day. When the game is on the line, he wants the ball, he gets the ball, and he usually comes through. He's a player's player, and he's our player. It's all yours.
I also think that he's been a little, I don't want to say stagnant. I know that I don't hear any fantasy football owners anymore. I'm done with them. Those conversations are over with. I love the guy's a football player. I said it, but the last few years he's been a little. He hasn't been in rhythm, I guess you would say, to what we saw. Yeah. And I think there's some reasons for it. And we'll get into it today, but I believe this refresh, and like you said, incentivize. You're damn right. If he can't get this right, I mean, everyone knows it's the perfect fit between Cliff and Jaden Daniels and the whole entire organization's turnaround. He is the perfect, and it's not a toy. This is an exact fit for exactly what we're trying to do. His ability to go high pace with our high pace offense from anywhere on the field. I mean, you're going to get a mesh point with him in motion a million times. He's going to be able to run, inside, outside zone. We're going to be able to run zone read with him. He's going to be able to sit there and he's going to be able to run a little wildcat slot.
Oh, yeah.
There's just so many things that he's going to be good
multiple.
At. And when he was there in those last few years, you bring in Christian McCaffrey and his combined rushes and targets are at 355. That's bonkers. That's 37% of that offense. Deebo still got his 13% or so, but I think that just throws a guy off. Like, he just doesn't understand when he's going to get it. Kyle had so many toys. I think that there was almost an overabundance of wealth and ego that you have to give X guy this amount, this time, boom, 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 to get the numbers right each week. Yep. And it just became that big of a game where that's not the case here. I think he can get right back to 2021 with 60 rushes and 120 targets and that without even breathing. A healthy Deebo in this freaking offense. Holy shit. When I saw it, Commanders get Deebo Samuel for 5th-round pick. I was like, Adam Peters, you son of a bitch.
I love all the ways they drew it up, like how he won, like from Jahan Dotson getting a 3rd round to trade, trading this, trading that. And it ends up with Deebo Samuel. I talked to T earlier today. T's take was great. He just said, he's a perfect example of like a true thoroughbred. When he's 100% healthy, there's nothing like him, and he gets nicked up and misses time, obviously that doesn't help you.
And year 2, he played 7 games. So his year 2 season, he's second round draft choice in the same draft Terry McLaurin came out in 2019. Those two guys were a second round pick and a third round pick. He missed a bunch of time year 2. Since then, he's played in 13, 15, 15, 16. He's just always nicked up. But he goes out there, instead of missing time, he's the type of guy that plays hurt. And that's what I love about him. He's nails tough. And we all know what he can do on the football field, obviously. But, him wishing everyone well and them parting their separate ways and the fans. There's no one in the league that doesn't want to have Deebo Samuel on their team.
Nope.
And it's a big old FU up the turnpike. It's up 95. Take some of that because we're coming. That is definitely signifies that we're coming after that number 1 defense with as much multiplicity in that fast-moving game that wants to attack. We got the perfect guy for it, man. And what I was worried about previously, Ken, was the amount of money. I thought there was no way we weren't going to have to sign him to a new deal. I don't know that that's not necessarily still true at some level. I don't know.
This is my take on the extension story because he's incentivized to play really well this year and get another contract. He obviously wants another contract in this league. I think he's the perfect. I don't think we have to. I don't think there's any priority whatsoever in allocating more than $17 million to him this season. We have a lot of other stuff going on. It's interesting that the Jonathan Allen move is going to probably free that amount up. So we'll kind of be back. Right now we're 7th overall. We'll move get the Jonathan Allen money back. We'll move back to like 5th or 6th as it kind of changes every day. But I like the idea of him showing up on this 1-year deal. If things go like best case scenario, we're 4-2, 5-2, 6-3 or whatever. We're like really having a good first half of the season, and Deebo's having a great time in this offense, and it's clicking, and he's getting the ball where he wants it, and all the things are working with Cliff Kingsbury and Jaden Daniels and Deebo Samuel. At that point in time, that's an interesting opportunity for an extension scenario because he's kind of proven it. You see it's going well. You know what the market is on guys like that, and he's 30 years old. So, and if he's and the best part about it is he's happy.
He's 29. Is he gonna be 30 right before the season starts?
I think he's like an age 30 year. I would check that out. I think he's 29 now. I think he turns 30 this year.
Aging this poor guy.
But even so I like the idea of no extension talks now, none in the summer, none in the beginning of the season. If everything goes absolutely great and it's working and everyone in the building knows what's happening.
29. He's 29.
29 when was his birthday?
January. He's a sparkly 20 or something. He's still shiny and new-ish.
I'll take the 29 all day.
Yes.
So either way, I think it would be great for the team and great for Jaden Daniels and great for Deebo Samuel if they play a month or two of this season under this current deal, and if everyone likes, they find a nice neighborhood and their kids like the schools, or you know what I mean, like all that can happen in 2, 3, 4 months. Then maybe you look at it and you start to situate your salary cap for the next 3 or 4 years.
And can you imagine being Deebo and looking around and saying, "Holy crap, I got the most lethal"? I mean, Deebo's known for not being the most pure route runner. He's a hybrid, so you're gonna there's gonna be a little give and take, and then in the passing game. No, he is not a seasoned natural route runner. He's just not. And he's going to get get better. But like if you watch him out there, he's just such a monster. He gets where he has to be. He's a catch contester. He's a winner in that scenario more times than not, which is a huge deal. Yeah. When a guy's running around making plays like our guy's he's a space finder just like Terry. These two guys play off each other freaking perfect. And I'm just so thrilled for his opportunity to thrive. I think this is the type of guy that the more targets he gets, the more carries he gets, the better he gets in a game. And I know there was always different situations in San Fran. I don't think that's necessarily the case here. I think he's going to be the same exact guy, and he's going to be utilized quite more than he has been in the last 3 years.
He's going to get as many touches in that they can give him as he's ever gotten. That's another reason why I don't want to extend him. I think we push the ball to him a lot. And the thing about wide receivers coming here, even though he's a hybrid, like a billionaire's.
He's just a badass football player.
Antonio Gibson, like he's the best version of what people are trying to do with guys like that.
And that was our number one touch guy in 2021. The last 3 years, it's been Brian Robinson. So the guy that touches the ball the most for us the last 4 years has been those two guys. Well, that's a little crazy to me. I understand the running back position and what the functionality is, but
what I'm saying about Debo coming in over as a wide receiver is obviously it's a 1 year number and it's a snapshot in time. Hopefully, Jaden Daniels plays a lot of years, but his pinpoint accuracy that he put on display at the NFL level under pressure to his receivers is insane. And as much as we all love De'Ami Brown and Noah Brown and Olamide Zaccheaus and these guys outside of Terry, if you put the ball right on a guy like Deebo Samuel, where he is, where he has the total advantage.
You don't have to put it right on him.
But I'm saying, but he will. But I'm saying Deebo's. I mean, not that Brock Purdy wasn't accurate because he was accurate, but the defense could play Brock Purdy differently. They weren't worried about him running. Deebo Samuel is going to be running to spots, and Jaden Daniels is going to be throwing to the axe. I mean, Debo running downhill on a secondary that's dangerous.
No doubt. And I'll tell you this is weird. I think Brock Purdy and Debo never really synced up. They had a 3-game deal where they had 5 touchdowns. The rest of their 30-some games they played together, their first 12 games together, they had 1 touchdown between each other. And then they had another 12-game scenario. They only had 1 touchdown. They had 3 games there. He went nuts. The Philly game, the Green Bay game, he had 2 in both of those, went crazy. Those were within 3 weeks. And it was kind of schemed up that way. Him and Brock Purdy never really had that click thingy. And his other quarterback, that was about 40% of his career. The other was Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
Both of those guys threw Deebo Samuel a grand total of 10 touchdowns. That doesn't sound like enough, does it?
Well,
that's he has 23 rushing, 20 receiving. Each one of those got, meanwhile, by the way, the first receiver in the history of the NFL to have 20 receiving touchdowns and 20 rushing touchdowns.
Yeah.
First guy to ever do it. So he might as well be in this offense because this is exactly what we're asking.
It's a way more. It's Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan's offense is not the same as what Cliff Kingsbury does with and can do with Jaden Daniels. The offense with Debo, like you can't. I mean, you just can't think of him as a wide receiver. You'll disappoint yourself. You'll set yourself up for disappointment if you look at Debo and you just worry about how many catches he has, how many receiving yards he has. The way that he leaves an imprint on the game because he's physical in every aspect of the game, including blocking, including all those other things. But if you look at how many times they're putting the ball in his hand, how many times they're targeting him, he's going to be a highly targeted player in this offense, and we're not going to ask him to be, our polished route running wide receiver. We're just not.
No. I don't give a shit about that either.
Yeah.
And he runs good routes.
Yeah.
He runs good routes. He's just not like a comeback guy. He's not a pure wide out because wideouts can't do any of the shit this guy can do.
Mm-hmm.
He is a chessboard mismatch in our up-tempo style. When we take him and the other team cannot substitute, and we can move him any effing where we want. Name an offensive position besides the 5 linemen. He can play any one of those spots. He can line up and will line up in every one of those spots. He's going to line up freaking everywhere. He's going to motion everywhere.
Trap defenses to put him at quarterback, like when they get the defense is wrong-footed and they go to hurry up and they're able to put him in a quarterback against the exact right defense they want. That's going to be awesome.
You understand? We all understand these 10 and 15 play drives when we don't substitute and we stay in no huddle and we get on the ball quickly and we dominate. And you watch the defensive linemen just dropping like flies, and you watch us have you by the balls without guys like Deebo Samuel. Wait till you get a load of us now. Seriously. And it doesn't have to just be 50-yard touchdowns. He's so explosive in 3rd and short situations. You get manned up with the guy, and you got Terry McLaurin now. He's going to get more than his 119 targets, I believe, because Debo's here.
Sure.
I mean, there's no way you come off Terry with the guy over top. You can't just play a 2 deep safety. Tampa Bay could never play the same defense against us if we have Deebo Samuel on the field. This is going to make everyone so much freaking better. Mostly
defenses were good at taking Terry away.
I know
for long stretches this year.
And listen, we'll get to it, but the Zach Ertz combo with all that just really, 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 really.
Are you still thinking he's coming back?
1,000,000,000%, and I want him desperately. And if he does,
6 million.
How about this? If he does come back, our starting weaponry, our infantry of weapons for JD5 will have 226 NFL touchdown passes. receptions.
Yeah.
226. That experience around a guy that is just, I mean, the ultimate, wise soul at age 24. I mean, he's a I can't even. Obviously, we got some work to do on the offensive line. I'm not. But if we're just talking about weaponry right now, based on what we saw this year and what we know about Deebo Samuel,
we add another 103 touchdowns.
Yeah,
to that
I
number.
know. I don't want to go in there without
no,
it.
hey, we're is that?
Wait till you see how many first downs historically that this group of guys has. Austin Eckler,
I'm saying adding another 103 in free agency.
Yeah.
One guy
who had 100. Zach Ertz.
No. I'm talking about top of Zach. I'm talking about how many touchdowns is that with Zach Ertz and Deebo and all
226.
Okay, so I'm saying 329.
When we trade for
not trade for, and I'm not. Devontae Adams has 103 total touchdowns. He's the 32-year-old wide receiver that was just cut by or released, I guess, by the Jets. And there are, I think at this point in time, because of how much money we have and Jaden Daniels, every guy like him that comes on the market, someone's going to be like, oh, Commanders would be a good fit for him.
Nah.
So but I do believe, whether it be in free agency or the draft, I do believe the goal is to get another wide receiver who will form the trio between,
no doubt,
between Terry, Deebo, and whoever, a guy who's not on our roster yet.
And I don't mind if a couple guys share that third spot like we have been. I really don't. Or if Luke steps up and snags it, like, come on, let's see what happens here. But I can see us drafting a speedster. I can see us getting a big guy. We'll see. And that still leaves room for us to keep at least two of our own free agents there. Let's put this up since we're getting there. This was the comment on Greg. Have we traded for Myles Garrett by the end of next Wednesday, a week from tomorrow? I say the answer to that is nope. Yeah, I think they're gonna draw this one out.
Yeah,
everyone keeps saying everything that's coming out of the combine is they're just saying it. They're sticking with it.
They're saying in no uncertain terms he's on their team. They have him for 2 more years. They think he's the best player in the world on defense. They might be right. They're like, why on God's green earth would we ever trade Myles Garrett? I totally understand that position.
I'm like, exactly.
Makes perfect sense to me. Therefore, I have decided to spend way more time. I'm not saying like we're not getting Myles Garrett, but I'm honestly past it. I don't think it's happening.
You can't answer the question like, well, of course I think we're going to get Myles Garrett, don't you? Of course we're going to get Myles Garrett. Like, no. Come on. You thought the Deebo or Heidi was a problem. I'm going to be an hour late when we get Myles Garrett.
Oh yeah. Well, me too. And I live here.
That's true.
But the capital it would take to get Myles Garrett would include a pick, likely the first round in this draft, that could net us not the next Myles Garrett, because there's no next Myles Garrett until they become Myles Garrett. A starting defensive lineman.
I'm not giving you the high look. I'm just telling you that.
I need mouth to mouth.
You have to call somebody upstairs. What whiskey were you using for mouth?
Let's finish that guy.
I'll leave that one for you. Can I open up this one?
Yeah, let's do it.
Nice.
The defensive lineman class is so deep and so good. There's a couple guys I think they would pounce on just because there's so many, there's just so many. There's more than enough to go around, and so by the bottom of the first round, you can get a starting defensive lineman on a team that desperately needs guys who can be physical against the run. So.
Yeah, but I just keep reading how we're going to trade down. Everyone else wants to trade down because you can get the same guy at 35 that you can at 100.
I love that game. Everyone wants to play that game.
I know. Of course.
Everyone can't trade down. At some point in time,
it's not novel. You and I didn't just invent this in the basement. Point being.
But there are people who get the call.
Want more picks.
I think, so here's the deal. I think the way the whole world wants to move down. If you don't have, if Jaden Daniels isn't on the board and you can't take him, or someone that you're that much in love with, then everybody wants to move down and add some picks. But that also means that probably nobody is there for any team. So the cool thing about Adam Peters is I think Vinny Serrato and Bruce Allen were probably not that well respected by numerous polls, by their peers and by the league. And so I think the opportunity to move down a few picks, I think people are willing to deal more with the guys that they're willing to deal with. Just the fact that Howie Roseman and Adam Peters made the deal for Jahan Dotson at all. Like that's an interdivision trade. There's no chance of that happening most times. I think Adam Peters is an honest broker, and I think other people in the league are more than willing to deal with him fairly. And that's, I think, how you benefit from these little like 3 or 4 move picks, in the draft. And he did it last year as well.
Yep.
So we like the idea of moving down.
Picks.
We like the idea of adding picks.
How else can we add draft capital? Where else is there?
I'm super hopeful that we can get a 5th round pick for Jonathan Allen.
Me too. If we can get a 5th for Allen,
and
after coughing up the 5th for Debo,
yeah, it would be outstanding.
Allen's a good player, but I just don't know what it's contractually. That's what it comes down to.
We already decided.
It's the same exact fucking number, too.
We decided already.
17.
We're giving Debo that money. We just gave Jonathan,
Exactly.
Debo's moving into his house.
Yes.
He's driving his car.
Don't keep going. Do not keep going.
Those are the only things I'm saying. Debo Samuel.
I've seen these murder shows. I know where it goes on next.
He's in. And
somebody's going to start doing some Frenching somewhere, somehow.
Jonathan Allen is no longer. He's staying in a hotel by the airport. And again, Jonathan Allen is awesome. He's great. He's gonna play. His name is gonna be said on TV next year by people who are talking about a guy who just made a really good play. So, yeah. That's one thing. Obviously, we don't have any. We can't afford. We don't have extra bodies around outside of Jonathan Allen. There's no one that we're trading away for anything.
I know. We only have
we have 3 guys.
Aside from the guys that I know, aside from the guys on the weird contracts that we don't know that we have stashed away. That they put in the depth chart now on some website. I don't even know 10 of them. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy?
Who would you be willing to trade? I'm looking on the list. I'm like, I don't think we can feel the team.
Is this a real guy?
Give me some. I would trade any of these guys, but I don't think
when they have to get to the first 51.
Yes,
and they can only get to 47. They're just throwing anyone in there. They got whoever the hell. And I'm like, Jesus, it's going to be a gluttony of signings. It's going to be just like last year, minus 7 or 8. Minus however many draft picks we have, so say 6. It's going to be the same amount of signings coming in 100 million miles an hour starting shortly. Holy moly.
So I'll be super interested to see who gets even a 2-year deal. You know what I mean? Because we're going to have guys who are a 1-year deal candidates, tons and tons of them. I think also the cool thing about the NFL for a team that just lost an NFC Championship game that people reportedly want to play for, our team, that we see it's such a physical game, it's such a beat up game. You have this glut of 28 to 33-year-old dudes who are professional football players who you want on your team, but they're no longer getting multi-year contracts, they're no longer getting top of market deals, but they're gonna get their mid-market deal from any one of 10 teams. Everybody's going to need a Zach Ertz. Everyone's going to need a Austin Eckler, or even all the way down to the bottom of that, the Jeremy McNichols, type guys. And so they're always there, and they get to pick. For the most part, they do get to pick where they go. We're not talking about the bottom, the 10-day contract, cup of coffee guys, but those midline starters for their bulk of their career, and those 1-year deals are Adam Peters' wheelhouse.
Yeah, they are. And also, I'm still shocked, and I think a lot of us are, about the level of player and person that we were able to attract to come here last year to pull this miraculous shit off.
Austin Eckler is one of them, and Zach Ertz is another one. But Bobby Wagner is...
Louvu,
Eckler,
Biotish. I mean, these are guys that, 3-year deal guys, a couple of them that, of course, they could have gone anywhere they wanted. I'm looking at Bobby Wagner, why in the living shit? That's when you started thinking maybe there's a little something to this. Because at the beginning of the year, someone said to me what a shitty defense we had, and we'd be so shitty. And I was like, there's no way there's going to be a shitty defense that has Bobby Wagner and Frankie Louvu on it. There's just not. I understand it's the week 1, but it's just not. We're better than this. We're going to get better than this. But why the hell did they want to come here in the first place last year? Why did those 5 guys want to come here? If those 5 guys wanted to come here last year based on DQ, Peters, and the staff, and the new entire environment, shit. Bring it on this year. I can't wait to see the level of player. That value has to increase. multiple times over for whoever the hell wants to make that decision.
And selfishly, and I'm biased because I live in the DC metro area, and so I'm biased. I know not everyone on this board does, but like I think DC is a cool place. I think Northern Virginia, notwithstanding, I'm a Maryland
I was
guy.
gonna say you lost me. You went
So
DC. And I was like, let's
anywhere
go.
around the Maryland side of the DC border I think it's a really cool place to live, and I don't think professional athletes wanted to set themselves up here because of the stink of the organization for 20 years. It was just a terrible place to work. Like no one wants to work at a terrible place. I get they're making the money, but they didn't even get to, would it be cool to live in Washington D.C.? Would it be cool to with the fan base, like the players nowadays probably don't have a big memory of that, but the RFK situation, all that might very well be a thing, going forward. So I think that what makes us attractive as a destination, we now get to be like a destination city, a destination team. But I think people are going to think this is a cool place to be. I think the new stadium and being downtown again is going to be a thing.
It's a football city.
Yes.
From the bottom up, the local grade school, high school town is as good as anywhere in the universe. It's always been a football city. We've been stripped of our enthusiasm. It's no longer stripped. We recovered. We've fallen on it. It's back. It's ours. And all these people are getting to see what this fan base has. It's been brewing, and the fire hasn't gone out, but now it's starting to flame up. And then, damn, in the playoffs, it exploded. So here we are. We're back. And it's definitely going to be a hell of a place to play because you want to play in a football town. Depending on what type of career you're in, where you're at in your career, if you want to retire down south, if you got a wife telling you where to go. But if you're just making a pure decision, you want to go play in a football city. You want to feel the love. You want to walk out in town. You want to understand it's palpable. It's playoff.
Yeah.
These people are dying it. And, the Green Bays of the world without the cold. We got a lot to offer down here.
The Buffaloes with the cold.
Right.
There's so many organizations that are great places to be. Listen, I'm not a Steelers fan, but I bet you it's a pretty good life being a Steeler living downtown. You know what I mean?
They love them. It's a specific example.
Yeah.
That might be one of the best.
Yeah, if I'm a Pittsburgh Steeler and I just walk into a diner, I'm probably not taking my wallet out, and B, I'm going to feel like you said perfectly, I'm going to feel the love. So I think, but we didn't even get to that. Like we didn't even have a chance for players to think that like, do I want that or not? Because no one wanted to do business with Bruce Allen or Dan Snyder and his lawyers, and we know that because we know that. That's just a fact.
We don't even have to talk about it. It's understood.
Yeah. So so that never was even a thing. So now getting guys who not just they want to be a part of it, on a going forward basis. I like what's up, J-Dubs, by the way. I didn't see you on there. I haven't seen Manner of Speaking in a hot second. But so I think that addressing, if we can what do you got?
I was reading some of the board.
Yeah. Oh, the board.
Robert Cohen, lest ye become a dislocated boner.
No, was that EO?
Never dive boner first, Greg Martin said. Sorry, I didn't mean to go back. I didn't mean to revert. No. I was chuckling.
So, all right. So, on this Fat Tuesday, and thank goodness.
Nice boner. What's it called?
Dislocated
boner.
No. Wait, boner transfusion?
Yes.
Okay,
it was a fantastic boner transfusion.
It was a good boner transfusion. The
best I've ever seen.
You made me lose my train of thought.
No, I know. I was doing it on purpose. You did it to me earlier.
That was perfect defense.
It was. The last grumble got you. Like the Hamburglar.
No, Fat Tuesday. We're talking about holidays that fall on Tuesdays. We don't have many, but it's a perfect holiday. I'm disappointed in myself, and I'm going to put the onus on myself, but also kind of you and the board. We don't get like this is a Tuesday holiday. What'd you have for dinner tonight?
Well, it's Fat Tuesday. I went breakfast for dinner.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, I did steak and eggs.
Yep.
I did some fried potatoes, and I did a little homemade challah bread stuffed French toast.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we went all in tonight.
That if you do stuff like that, that means this day is special, Fat Tuesday, and thankfully, it's one of those days. It's always going to fall on the same day as one of our shows.
It's always going to be on Fat Tuesday.
Oh, our show is always going to be on Fat Tuesday. So next year we have to do it up a little bit more. I'm not talking about beads or any kind of a bead situation. That's why T's not here, because of the whole bead situation.
I know. He always gets inundated. Your neighbors are pretty relentless.
He exposed himself to an Entenmann's bakery rack, and it was he's gonna get through it, and he's gonna be back here with us probably next week.
They started printing out raspberry Danish T-birds. They changed the whole packaging.
I think that guy's exposing himself to the Entenmann's end cap. What's going on?
Raspberry Danish tea.
Raspberry Danishes.
It is the best Entenmann's.
Free agency going to be here soon enough. We're going to be able to legally do some tampering, which is always a fun time of year. But the one thing that I wanted to talk about first was linebacker, because you said Bobby Wagner, so I'm going to move right to Bobby Wagner. 35 years old, 11 All-Pro seasons, was a second-year All-Pro last season, I believe, as a Washington Commander. I don't like his age is his age. Last year he was like 89% in coverage. I mean, he's an off-ball linebacker. He is the smartest guy on the field. And his numbers don't indicate that he's slow. His numbers don't indicate that he's old. I mean, so to me, first of all, he's got a red carpet, right back to the same position, next year.
He has lost a step, but mentally he's sharp as a tack.
Yep.
And the guy's a beast, and he knows where to be. And just let the percentages work themselves out. There'll be a couple of plays that he looks a little less athletic than a couple of the guys that are running crossing routes directly in front of him. But if you want to know who knows where to be more so than any of those guys, it's him.
Yep.
He showed it time and time again last year. I'm so done with these PFF guys and these 10-yard bursts and times and blah, blah. And yes, that can be important, and it is a part of the game. But don't overthink it when it comes to a guy like Bobby Wagner, who's been involved with 8.7 billion high-speed collisions at impact, because he knows where to throw his body before anyone even knows they're going there. Yep. I don't even want to listen to any of that shit.
No,
I'd be so pissed and disgruntled and bummed out if he doesn't come back. If he does Pete Carroll or some weird shit.
The only outcome that seems even probable is Pete Carroll out in Vegas, right?
Yeah. He's such a smarmy dick throwing that last line in there.
I know.
Just want to give your old ass just take your Werthers and shut up. I can't leave Bobby Wagner alone
and stop making everyone guess that I'm older than you. when I have you by 40 years. But I think that's the only I mean, the talk about a destination city. There's some guys who are going to be attracted to Las Vegas and that organization probably, but I hope it's not Bobby Wagner. I don't think it will be. I think he legitimately liked his year here. So I'm not clouded into thinking he's a lifer just because of that. But I also think that what he got last year out of himself and the success that he clearly had, that everyone could see with their eyes.
In that Detroit game, if not for Bobby Wagner, we do not win that game.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what else needs to be said about having a guy like Bobby Wagner on our roster versus not having him on our roster.
We're the old linebacker team. Like there's plenty of teams. I mean, we're not the only ones. I understand that other guys, but we tried out the Ken Harveys and the London Fletchers and and these guys all the way till the last drop because they are not having they're not having it. They're not hearing about what you think is their last year, Kevin Ricca.
Right.
But you know what I mean? Like we're the team that did it. Like we're the team that does that.
Nothing about his play, especially in the later half of last season at the tail end, nothing about his play showed any decline or fall off.
Yeah.
So I'm just not sure how people just make these choices in the offseason based on just what they guess is, whatever the hell it is. Listen, he's going to be a hell of a player for whoever the hell he plays for next year. Why not freaking be us, where he was spectacular on and off the field and specifically improved many, many other of our teammates and the guys we're rooting our asses off for because of his presence in this organization. He's a huge chunk to what happened last year. He's a gigantic piece of why we had such tremendous success. Some
I
guys,
think we had the.
some guys you don't want to look at with a calculator
Yeah. Oh no, you need a calculator to add
or
up all the ages.
stopwatch.
I think we had like the highest sum total age. Like, Rich Malott, Mel Kaufman, Neil Okowitz. I think those guys were like average like age of like 74. Like they did not look young. I remember in my mind's eye.
Now they're not.
No, they're not. No, they're not. They didn't. And they felt like they looked like they were pretty old when they were playing at the end there. So how about this? Let's say that I am somebody who believes that Adam Peters can deal with any team in the National Football League, and that any team would be willing to deal with him. Under that premise, I think instead of, if we are truly prepared to throw the kitchen sink at Myles Garrett, which I don't think we're the only team prepared to do that. Obviously, there's more. I think Philadelphia is also prepared to do it.
He might be one of the only guys, but go ahead.
I think there's one other guy.
Yeah, I know.
I think there's a guy that wears number 11 in Dallas, Micah Parsons, and I think if
how can you get him out of jail?
So
Can't just send Maurice for him.
And by the way, we don't have any players for Dallas. I just looked at the roster, and we can't trade anybody. Otherwise, we won't be able to put 11 guys on the field. So, I do think Micah Parsons. There's a part of the Dallas organization that is ready to get the King's ransom for Micah Parsons. They just re-signed. So they just signed their one defensive lineman to a 4-year, $80 million deal. That does not necessarily. That means nothing in terms of.
But they can't re-sign any of their free agents, and they're going after others. It's super weird.
It's super weird. And if I'm Adam Peters, I mean, how about this? Like I'm thinking like it's RG3 trade situation, except it's not. You're not trading for RG3. I mean, I think it's going to be a stupid deal.
I know it's going to be multiple firsts.
And you do it?
I don't know, man. I don't think so.
The one guy who I've been saying Myles Garrett is the one guy who most meaningfully addresses our biggest.
But he'd be a first and a fourth, maybe.
Right. Micah Parsons also is the
two
guy.
Firsts, a second, and a third, and a fifth, and whatever the hell else he is. He's all of that shit.
I don't know what the number is, and it's not like you can't turn on TV right now and see people saying that Jerry Jones is even considering it because he obviously wants Micah Parsons on his team.
I know, but what a controversial trade with Dallas.
Oh, I know.
And then all of a sudden he sprains his anus and he's out for 4 years, and we're so screwed.
Well, you know what? We've been screwed before for worse players.
I know, but that doesn't mean I want to go back in there. You know what a sprained anus cost us in the past?
Yes, I do.
Shit.
I do, and I'm ready to be hurt again. I guess I don't know. I guess that's what it is. I would for him. Like the more I think about how our organization is run, I do believe that there is a guy like Micah Parsons like stirs the Kool-Aid in a way that like nobody else can.
Those two guys would absolutely be perfect for our defense. That's all. Mm-hmm. I mean, they'd be the best player, bar none, off day one. Baddest has at the best position for us possible. Yes. But God damn it, let's just have some success before we just start willy-nillying, just filling up contracts and dropping off draft picks.
2 firsts and a third.
We have the best drafter of all time.
That's what Greg's saying. And so if you ask me would I trade 2 firsts and a third for Micah Parsons, I would immediately say yes.
I don't even know what that quantifies, but that sounds horrible to me.
It's tough. I'm because that just means that he's actually available. Guys like him are never available. You almost can never add that guy to your team.
I get it.
Once you see how he, because you know how guys
Jerry's never letting us do this. I'm not letting you take me down.
Okay. Fair enough.
Jerry Jones would never allow this type of momentum to occur in the Burgundy and Gold District.
He was quoted as saying around the Super Bowl time frame about how much he loves when Washington is good for the NFL, about how much better the NFL is when Washington is a good and solid foundation. By the way, if Micah Parsons does well for the Washington Commanders, Jerry Jones makes money. I mean, because that's just good for the NFL. And he knows that. No, and you know what? He is so cold-blooded and cold-hearted enough to have that as a factor in his decision.
I don't know. The fan base is buying that one. Wait a minute. You're telling me that you just Saquon Barkley the shit out of this, Jerry? You went
This would be
You just
better
gave
than that.
the defensive Saquon Barkley to your fucking rival.
And it would be like a total key party in the
I'll tell
NFC
you,
East.
it would really chat my ass if he went to Washington.
Got the Eagles and Giants over in the closet playing 7 minutes, of heaven, and then you got Dallas and us, doing a little bit of a different game, not the same game. I don't know.
It'd be so fun to have both of them. We're not getting either of them.
Okay, so that wasn't to go down the terrible rabbit, but I do think that kind of move is up Adam Peters' sleeve. Let's put a pin in that one. I love your reaction. Wide receiver. So you add Deebo Samuel. So we have Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel. Oh, by the way, Bobby Wagner is our guy, number one for front and foremost. Another name who I love, who is available as a free agent. He's in that top 5, top 6, top 7 off-ball linebacker free agents who I think fits our team perfectly. This guy named Ernest Jones. He was traded a couple times over the last couple of years. He's 26 years old. He is a run-stopping specialist as an off-ball linebacker.
Much for a fat guy. Fun guy to have a hot dog with. Like Ernest Jones, he's been traded a couple times.
He's 26 years old.
On his knee.
He made $3 million last year. I'm not saying the frontline guy. I'm saying he's a $3 million player last year. I don't know how much more than that he's going to make this year. But again, when we talk about 1-year guys that are going to fill out that 1-year guy slot, oh man, this would be one.
All right, Ken got to say his Ernie Jones piece. Ernie effing Jones. Then
I didn't want to leave. I took notes. I have notes.
Then later you're like, remember fucking Ernie Jones? Remember I called out Ernie fucking Jones? That night I did the notes. Remember Ernie Jones?
You're talking about Ernie Jones?
When we sign Ernie Jones, I get the emoji text I get.
You're going to be on a walk. You'll be like, I'm never returning from this walk. You'll be like,
God,
I'm on this walk forever, guys. Sorry. Never coming home.
Welcome Ernie Jones. I'll always be like, fuck this guy.
I don't know how much it's going to cost to get him, because who knows? No one knows that answer. But
if Parsons makes free agency, that means that they haven't whatevered him, and they're going to.
Okay, so that is part of my premise. I said on the front side. I just said under the premise that anyone can work with us, and we work with anyone. That's but
got it.
But the other part of that even being possible to happen. I believe that Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys are on the smart side of the line of we don't let a guy like Micah Parsons walk away without getting something for him.
For God's sake.
There's no chance. There's no chance Jerry Jones lets Micah Parsons ever get to free agency in that scenario. He's gonna get his 2 first. There's no team in the league that wouldn't give him 2 firsts plus something right now, and he knows that. He's not getting to a point where Micah Parsons walks out the door because he doesn't have enough money to sign him. There's he is at least on the smart side of that line. So the question does become, when do you trade him if you truly can't pay him, or how do you find a way to pay him, because they have super big ticket items on their payroll right now. CD, Dak, Ole, the offensive lineman. So anyways, I think Ezekiel Elliott's still making $56 million a year or something like that. I'm not sure how he's still even in the league. By the way, talk about a guy who when they hand the ball off to, it's like the greatest feeling in the world.
Oh my God.
When you're playing him, you're like, just keep giving.
Even the other guy who's a free agent, I was like, who the hell is this guy? He's great. Because we just watched.
I love him. So wide receiver, got some names out there. And again, under the premise that I want the wide receiver position, you don't have to agree with this, or you can. And I think you already did.
Thank you. That gives me both of my options.
First Amendment sports, everybody. It's right. It's right in the name. It's right in the name.
I'm gonna crush this shit.
Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, and fill in the blank guy who's not currently on a roster, nor was he on a roster last season. Chris Godwin, Devontae Adams, Cooper Kupp, or a 1st/2nd round draft pick. If you had those choices to make.
Draft pick.
Agree.
All day.
You love Chris Godwin, though.
I love Chris Godwin, but last time I saw him, his foot was facing that away, and I didn't like that very much.
I can't believe. Were we watching?
Yeah,
Was I watching that with you?
I love him. I do love him. He's
That was the worst
spectacular,
thing.
but he's not exactly the guy you like. All of a sudden, he's gonna be like, wait a minute. I want to sign a gigantic contract for 1 year. They got Debo and Terry. There's about 240 targets. Where's mine? So
Yeah.
that I don't know if you want to get into that right away. Plus, let's let a guy grow up. Jaden Jones is gonna be great, great, great. Greg made this point earlier. I've made it before. You'd like to see him have a buddy, and Odunze for Caleb. A guy to grow and come along this league with.
Yep.
I think we'll find that in this year's draft. I think that's absolutely happening, or at least they're going to finagle a way to get one of his boys, and I don't know how because I don't know.
Dude, by the way,
don't even say we're trading for
there's
fucking,
no Malik Neighbors. I mean, Brian Thomas Jr.
I
To
know.
me, it's the Brian Thomas Jr. I mean, Malik Neighbors is a badass, and he's gonna be great for a long time. No doubt.
Ayuk was. I thought you were going to jump on me with this trade.
Oh, no,
'cause
Ayuk's done.
His guy. No, but they're today. Did you hear what John? They're going to trade his ass. They've got people asking. I don't know if it's us or not, but that'd be weird because he kind of nullified some of Debo's, some of his targets over the last couple years.
Okay, so
although along with Christian McCaffrey, who was targeted 5,474 times. So.
I would be shocked to learn, even though I have no idea. I have no idea if Debo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk are tight. I don't believe so.
But Jaden and Ayuk are.
Jaden Daniels and Brandon Ayuk are super tight. And still, if you're Debo Samuel, there's two things that you have in your back pocket on this whole deal is you're playing for a contract, so you're not going to do anything to rock any boats of any kind. And, Brandon Ayuk is a known quantity for Debo Samuel. Like I said, I don't know. They could, for all I know, they could be best friends. But I've watched Brandon Ayuk block downfield for Debo Samuel on multiple occasions. In fact, that's one of the reasons why Adam Peters has been interested in Brandon Ayuk in the past. He's a big body and he doesn't mind blocking, and he's actually very good at it. So I'm going to say at the current moment, I would be more inclined to believe that would be a cool thing for Brandon Ayuk and Debo Samuel. Thing. For those two specifically.
You got Jaden, a young receiver that's his homeboy.
Yeah.
Not to mention
Debo. Cool between those two guys. Terry. The wide receivers. They'd be cool with it.
I'm not talking about personality-wise. No matter what in this league, there's going to be someone that you're going to be worried about getting your targets. But when you're Debo, there's very few. And one of them was Christian McCaffrey, and he wound up coming. So I'm just saying.
And Ricky Pearsall is good, by the way.
How about Kittle? How about Juwan Jennings? How about Ayuk first half of the year? There's only one football. So, hey, around here, that football gets put in Jaden's hands, and he determines the next part. Purdy is just a cog in the wheel. Jaden is the wheel. Jaden's the reason. That's why we roll.
And the interesting thing about Ayuk is he comes with a contract, and that contract is coming in. So that was market value last year. The salary cap just went up by a billion% or whatever it is, and it's going to keep going up. Brandon Ayuk gets to be we get to a guy at last year's market value who we liked at last year's market value, but we get him under current market value.
And as Greg said, the ship has sailed for trading, but all we have is draft capital. Why don't we just go ahead and make this whole entire year about the draft choices being replacements for the 3rd, 5th, and 2nd round picks? I don't know. There's so many options. I'm not saying I know what's right and wrong. I don't. I'm nervous to do anything.
How about defensive line? Would you rather? So I did this in order on purpose because we both agree, given the options that I laid out, which were Godwin, Adams, Kupp, in a draft pick in the first round, we took or first or second round, we took the draft pick. I think the defensive line is an interesting spot because I love, and I hate to say it, and I don't think that he's necessarily. I have not heard that he's a target of ours by any stretch. Milton Williams is going to make a ton of money in this league.
You got Milton and Ernest.
Milton is not coming here, but
could.
He's going to be paid a shit ton of money to play defensive line, and we have a chance to draft either in the 1st or 2nd round a starting defensive lineman. Once again, I would probably lean towards the draft because of the depth of this particular position. But I will say, if you're not getting, we're happy to add Myles Garrett to Daron Payne and Jerzon Newton right now. I think we'd be just as happy to add Milton Williams to Deron Payton and Johnny Newton right now.
And let's keep in mind with our draft picks, I believe we have 3 of the top 90 or so, 88, I believe. 3 of the top 88. Our next picks aren't until well after 200.
Yeah,
there's a big lull in the middle there. And that's
those 3 guys have got to be starters.
And that exact lull right there between that 88 and 200 is where we did fantastic work last year. So I am scared shitless about not having these picks. I'm very worried about it. I don't like it. This is not making me feel good. It's making us feel like we got to hit on these top 3. We still got to spread the money thin for 1 year to re-sign the amount of guys we have to just fill out a roster. So it'll be very interesting. I'm very excited to see to root for the guys that were great for us last year, the guys that we liked to get re-signed. That's going to be neat. It's going to be sad to see a couple guys that we fall in love with go elsewhere. That's going to be heartbreaking. It's been a while since we felt this way about a team that won this much. So I don't know, man. I know this as I'm looking at our top 4 years and top 5 guys that touched the ball. 2 of those last 3 years, Jahan Dotson was in our top 5. How about that?
Yeah.
Talk about upgrading your weaponry, your armament. We don't have him or a guy like him getting in our top 5 touches of our weapons moving forward. That's a really big deal.
Yeah.
That's and when you have Terry and Debo with a guy like possibly Ertz and Eckler coming back, Eckler was low key great last year at times. The only thing that knocked him back was a couple bad timely injuries.
And a lack of speed on some runs,
well,
which is a problem in our running back position.
He's year 10. Yes.
Oh, yeah, but
you can't just have them all be slow.
You can't have them all be slow.
That's what I was saying last week. 2 weeks ago was stop the run. Last week was let's run it. Now we got Debo.
Fast.
So let's go.
Again,
Debo certainly helps us run the damn ball. That's a fact.
Like his career became a referendum on the fairness of the NFL in terms of like, if you have a guy like Debo, I want to put the ball in his hands every time. And they're like, yeah, but it's not a freaking video game. Like he'll die.
Exactly.
You know? And so, but again, he's in a situation where on a 1-year deal, it's kind of like for us, I'm kind of like, for $17 million, I want to give him the ball like 20 times. I mean, you know what I mean? It's crazy. He is, like T said, when healthy, a thoroughbred game breaker. And so it'll be interesting to see what that attracts to our team in free agency. That was the end of my notes.
Someone that can fly. How about, did you write down someone that can fly? Debo can fly. It's super cool that a guy can score from anywhere on the field at any given time at any offensive position aside from offensive line. That's so badass. I'm not sure we've ever had that, dude.
Not only have we not had him, we've improperly and falsely labeled guys that. So I love the moniker of he's a running back when he gets as a wide receiver. When he gets the ball, he turns. He's a running back as a wide receiver. I understand. We had a guy like that we said was like that was not like that.
Curtis Samuels?
No, way worse.
Damn.
Devin Thomas came out of Michigan State. He was like a 6'2", 200+ guy.
He was in a model.
He tried to get into male modeling, but he was a wide receiver. He was an Antonio Gibson type, just a big body. When we got the ball, he was just bigger than most of the guys that were trying to tackle him in the secondary.
Yeah.
So Debo is he's obviously that kind of guy. And the beauty of the beauty of being able to design an offense around a Debo Samuel, and put him in. When you talk about the running back at wide receiver, what we didn't have any of these other times, what we didn't have. The key to having a running back who plays wide receivers is having wide receivers who block downfield. And if you don't have wide receivers who are willing to find blocks downfield at big physical guys, like for example Noah Brown. Like Brandon Ayuk, for that matter, even though I know it doesn't sound like we're getting him, but guys who are willing to be 6'4" downfield against safeties and corners and pursuing linebackers. That's how you maximize the value of a running back and wide receiver. Is wide receivers who will block for him 10 to 15+ yards downfield. And
this offense is built around Jaden Daniels with Cliff Kingsbury, and it affords Debo a million opportunities to succeed. I mean, he's ridiculous. I heard someone say, I forget where, he's going to be a one-off guy for Jaden. Yep. Meaning, which he couldn't do this year, which was hand it off and take that play off. Here you go, Debo. Why don't you go get about 25 on a run Get out of bounds. I can catch my breath. We'll go over to the sideline. It doesn't have to be me doing everything every single freaking time all over the place. An upgrade at the offensive line spots would also be a very big help for the one-off guy. But I understand that. And the pressure of being that athlete, that you have to put the ball in that spot. Debo's as athletic as anyone on the field, as anyone on planet Earth at 6 foot, 200 and they're calling him chunky at 225. I'm like, come on, guys, it's 6 months.
Thank God.
This dude can't lose 9 pounds in 6 months. Just stop with the chunky.
I think that the beauty of Cliff Kingsbury and the beauty of and Adam Peters, who deserves credit, I think, for the mentality of we're going to add this guy, and how are our coaches? Anthony Lynn, has had a big part in the communication with Debo. Is we're not going to throw you the ball 12 to 15 times a game. We're going to throw you the ball like 8 to 10 times a game, but we're going to hand it off to you 4 or 5 times, and you're going to get direct snap to multiple times. He's going to get his touches in the easiest of ways. That the jet or the forward pass in the backfield, the pit, those.
The shovel. Listen,
the shovel.
At the match point, you're looking at Jaden Daniels and Debo Samuel. Jaden is now reading linebacker or edge outside in, and he's either going to hand it off to a guy that's going to be streaking up the field, or he's going to pull it and take off down the sidelines. When they get you in a certain set and motion to the side and go away from the strength and bring Debo in formation, there is no chance you have enough talent and athletes in space to deal with those two. Why do you think Lamar just had such a great time with old badassery back there? Like, you just got to you can take one of them away. You can't take them both away. And don't forget about 17 lurking in the shadows.
That's the beauty.
Who's about to be, it's about to open up his entire game.
Kev, I think
it's going to be huge for Terry.
I would argue that the guy who's going to open up Terry McLaurin's game isn't yet on our roster. I think we're going to get a name and a guy.
I'm telling you right now, Debo Samuel is taking way more.
But the defensive,
that is
the
2
cornerbacks.
ones. That's 2 1s. When have we had 2 1s?
Well, I guess what I'm saying is
unconventional ones.
Yes.
One of them,
but I'm not. That's not a knock on. I'm not saying what you're saying isn't true about Debo. I'm saying it's going to be true about that next wide receiver that we're getting, whether it be a first round pick or a free agent. I think we're bringing in a big name guy who's. I just want the defensive coordinator, because we said it earlier in the show. It was so easy, it seemed at times, for defenses to target Terry and get him out of our remove him from the game. And I think Debo absolutely changes that calculus right away. I believe that there's a guy coming.
You can't just go too deep over Terry's side when Debo's on the other.
Right. That's right.
You just cannot.
But I'm saying you'll still be able to put him in the backfield. You'll still be able to do other things, because I believe that there's there's going to be a guy in a jersey number as of yet unknown on the other side from Terry that's going to make Debo's life easier. As well as Terry's.
And you're going to love it. He's going to get smokes, jets, shovels, tunnels, all your favorite stuff. All the Cliffy boy badassery is coming. And we're about to see all of it, because when it was all drawn up in the lab, he was hoping that there would be a guy like this that he was drawing it up for somewhere along the line, because it's all quarterback driven with Cliff. And now he's got both. And he's got the number 1 out wide. So that next guy, I know what you're saying, but I don't mind if we just bring back a couple Browns.
Bring back a couple Browns?
Bring back the Brown. Let's go. We know what Brown did for us.
No problem with that whatsoever.
Diami, let's go.
Because the number 1 job, priority number 1 this offseason is
stop the
run.
You got to stop the goddamn run.
I'm never going to lose sight of that. However, the addition of Debo Samuel to our offense to me, is intriguing, because this is why Devontae Adams would be like the ultimate luxury, and ultimately probably not for us. I think there's a dude out there who is so scheme specific to us, and so athletically in line with what Adam Peters is looking for. I think that we are in a position, because with Terry McLaurin and Debo Samuel, if there's like a third ingredient to add, it just doesn't have to be Devontae Adams. Here's a 6 point.
I don't want it to be the fake hammy guy who caused a ruckus last year.
Yes, it's going to be somebody who's like.
We don't need 2 diva wide receivers.
It's going to be
we don't have one. Now we have one.
It's going to be the next piece they add is going to be so deliberate. That's what I love about it because especially if we draft somebody, then we know that he's going to be handpicked for his measurables and his ability to fit into what we do. Same thing. I that's what I believe about our offense, and I do. I didn't say running back, and we're not going to do a whole running back thing now. But the fact of the matter is, we have 2 running backs on a 1-year deal. And that's
we
great.
have 0 running backs signed in 2026.
Yes. So
on our entire roster, we have none. So
that's also
you'd think we would like to get one. I know I want draft picks. How the fuck should we get more goddamn draft picks? We have the greatest drafter of all time in the mid rounds, late rounds, and we don't have enough draft picks for him.
Derek, did you bring any draft picks tonight?
Do you know a guy?
He said, I texted you. I was like, bring the draft picks. All right. Well, next week. But I think that
we better do Team Mom before it gets too late.
We're doing Team Mom right now.
Well, everyone just needs to. No. You guys just need to submit.
We're at the nomination stage.
Your nominations.
We're nomination stage. It's like a ghetto primary in the basement. We have, I believe, Christy Brinkley.
Yes, Ken Harris submitted Christy Brinkley.
Christy Brinkley is a Team Mom nomination. I believe last week we had 3 nominations to replace. By the way, our Team Mom this year, Martha Stewart, just a cover model for the swimsuit issue.
We only have rules over 40.
Over 40.
Over 40. Robert Cohen had someone last week. I forget. I know we can go take a peek, but there was some.
I thought I wrote it down, but I didn't. I took notes on all this other stuff.
Was there a Holly Berry? If there wasn't, just put her down.
All right, I'm putting Holly Berry down. After her performance the other night.
Yes.
There was some. Greg Martin said he had 3. Greg Martin, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he spent like 117 hours on this decision alone over the course of this week.
I was gonna, and then I got a deboner for like 5 days.
Yeah, deboners were in season. Can't believe
for a 5th round pick.
When Micah Parsons and Ernest Jones are on this team.
You said Milton, Ernest. Did you say Poindexter?
And Poindexter.
Yeah, I thought you might have.
Sandra Bullock, who's an actual Redskins fan, that did come out. That was a deal. Sandra Bullock.
Julie Ertz, that's a great call.
There's
no way she's 40. She's got to be. No.
Oh,
she's
no.
not.
She's over 40 for sure.
She's older than Zach?
Oh, yeah. Well,
he's right there. He's right there. He's 39.
I think she is. But we're gonna confirm it. Julie Ertz. I believe Greg would know. I believe he would know. When was she born? Let's get to Wikipedia.
There you go, Derek.
She's it. Oh, it doesn't say date of birth. Oh, she's 32.
I knew it.
Guys. She's way too young.
Team Mom can't be 32. There's too many.
Come on, guys.
Too much stuff that happens.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
We need
wisdom. We need wisdom.
I heard Marissa Tomei was one of them, and I am a big supporter of that.
I'm going to go ahead and nominate Dolly Parton.
Oh, by the way, that's gonna win some subscriptions. All right, so that's what so right now we have Christy Brinkley, Halle Berry, Sandra Bullock, Marissa Tomei, and Dolly Parton. I mean, this was a great room full of posters in 1993-ish, if I'm not mistaken. Even Dolly Parton at that point in time. I mean, that was what, 30 years ago. Christy Brinkley, I think, is 70. Is that true?
It's fair. I mean, it was early 80s. Her and Chevy were just driving down that highway.
That's
slapping sandwiches off Chevy's face. Remember?
Well, of course I remember. Let's bring back Bruce. There's Bruce. Bruce gets the rest of the show. Martha was in his way. I mean, I'm not giving the old Team Mom any disrespect. All right, Julie Ertz not eligible. All right.
Well, it looks like we got our nominations in.
We'll stage a I don't know, a debate of some sort.
We're gonna take it to the streets.
I think we need to take it to the streets. This is a great list. And there's a good. We have a couple
Pam
wild
Grier
cards.
Still with us? Because I thought Pam Grier today, but something tells me she's no longer with us. Can she be our heavenly team mom?
Well,
we didn't stipulate that team mom had to actually be alive.
We didn't, but
Pam Grier would be a badass team mom of.
No, she's still with us. 75 years old. She's on
amazing.
The list.
Get her on there.
Oh, by the way, her campaign poster is going to be epic next week. And I'm not even. You can go. I mean, Foxy Brown, obviously, but going all the way back, 1973. A black mama, white mama.
Yeah, that's over. That's over 50 years ago.
All right, Pam Grier's on the list.
Team mom, a team mom that's been through it all.
Can we just do one quick, Greg? Can you just pull us through one quick? I know we did a fictional. I love these fictional these fictional
John Shaft
setups. Yeah, and people who are still hanging out with us, this is what we do. 1 hour. We're exactly 1 hour in. We're gonna call it right now. We're on a 12 minutes to the end situation. So we have 12 minutes to go. A 12-minute warning. 12-minute warning. Greg has a setup for. Let's do 4 rounds of the fictional character one that we talked about.
Derek's got a Lucy Lou burning a hole in his pocket right now.
He does. He absolutely does. Great hat, by the way. Where's that hat from? Do you want to sit in on this last little draft segment with us, or are you good? Yeah, get over here. Drive all this way. You're not on the camera, though, but I'll fix that. Yeah, top on so we can hear you. All right, so Greg, where you at?
Oh, that's what he's saying. No contest, not no. I thought he meant like Pam Grier, no contest. He meant like no. Yeah, I love Greg's business. Jemmy Bordelon has 10 kids. That doesn't seem right.
Talk right into that.
No way.
Jimmy, who? Wait, who has 10
Here we
kids?
go. Here we go.
All right. In honor of franchise tag deadline today, which of these 4 options in each category would you franchise to keep over the others and why? All right. So it's Kevin and I and Derek. Derek, just lean your head in so people know you're here. Derek, hey, there he is. Derek in the house. All right. Derek is. Sorry, I know. You told me not to fix the camera, so we have a 2-shot instead of a 1-shot. By the way, you're in the bird seat here over here. So I think that
it's the T-bird seat.
Yeah, it's T-bird seat. Round 1, seat. Fictional youth sports team: the Mighty Ducks, the Little Giants, the Bad News Bears, or the Hickory Huskers. This is. Of these 4 options, which in each category would you franchise to keep over the others and why? Derek, you want to start us off? You're at the franchise either the Mighty Ducks, the Little Giants, the Bad News Bears, or the Hickory Huskers.
I don't think the Huskers are fiction. I think they're real. But no,
Hoosiers?
Yeah. To me, they'll always be real. So I'm gonna go Little Giants.
Ah, damn you. Damn you.
Wait, so if someone takes it, you can't take it?
I think so.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So, right. Kevin, right. I'll let you go next. You leave you the Mighty Ducks, the Bad News Bears.
I am going to franchise the Bad News Bears.
Okay.
Because they're just raw, uncut, and so 70s. It's just really, when the head coach is just pouring himself into the parking lot out of the vehicle for the first practice, that's when you know it's going to be a hell of a season. And it was. Shout out Tanner and the boys.
Shout out Tanner and the boys. I just for Derek, we have to give a little bit of commentary. I mean, we're talking about Icebox. We're talking about Rick Moranis, head coach Rick Moranis, who and we're talking about a brother rivalry. We're talking about Al Bundy. We're talking about the heart and soul of a small town split in half by this whole decision between the Little Giants and the Cowboys. So the Little Giants, like they deserve to be preserved for posterity.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. I just want to give them their due.
Yeah.
Take whoever you want. We've been told. Take whoever you want.
I'm taking Hickory. I mean,
yep. I'm sticking with the Bad News Bears, and Derek had the first pick, so obviously we did the right thing.
Yeah. So the Mighty Ducks are out, and that's okay with me. But the Hickory spoke team, especially on the heels of Gene Hackman's passing. God, I don't even. I mean, listen, he was 95 years old. I don't know the fact that there's a mystery about his death. Listen, we're gonna figure all that out. But at the end of the day,
My team's on the floor.
we didn't exactly. His career is his 95 years are on the floor. And I don't, that was perfectly all that he had and all that he needed. Fictional football players. I gave this cat. I already knew ahead of time that one of those that he was gonna put in. So you got Al Bundy, Bobby Boucher, Willie Beeman, and Shane Falco as your fictional football players. We're going to franchise 3 of these guys, and we're going to leave 1 on the sidelines. So, Kevin, you get to go first.
Yeah, well, I'm going. It's an automatic, easy choice for me. I've had my tackling fuel all evening, and I'm going Bobby Boucher.
Yeah.
And shout out Mud Dogs.
Shout out Mud Dogs. All right, so.
And what was her name? What was his girlfriend's name? Because I want to shout her out too. She was a great character.
Was it like Jezebel or something like that?
She was
Forgot
great.
about her.
She was so spectacular. Her and Kathy Bates it was magic.
What's that actor's name? It's like Veruca Salt or something. I mean, she was in Almost Famous. She was one of the Band-Aids.
Vicky Valancourt. That was her name in the thing, right?
In Almost Famous?
No.
Was it Vicky?
And I like her boobies.
And I like her boobies.
Yes.
I love Al Bundy, but like for me, to stay true to myself, I'm going Shane Falco. I love that's my dream. Coming off the couch and being a professional quarterback for even just for a hot second, and also by the way to play for Gene Hackman. Let's just be honest, that. It has everything. So far, I have two answers that involve Gene Hackman.
And one gets you off the couch. Congratulations.
And one gets you off the couch. It was based off of the Redskins strike team. And that story is legendary. And to me, professional sports is all about you can freaking steal the story and be the legend in that tiny situation, which Shane Falco clearly did. As what was it, Rupert? The actual quarterback.
I took Bobby Boucher. I'm not laughing.
I think it was Ed Rupert or something like that. The actual guy that Shane Falco played.
It was Ed Rupert.
Ed Rupert. Yeah. So a guy like that who lives forever because of a one shining moment in his at the last possible speck of opportunity that he could have. Shane Falco. What do you got? Do you have to pick Al Bundy or Willie Beeman?
This is tough because they're both would have been my top pick. But
really, wait, tell me why both would have been your top pick, real fast.
Oh, I mean, Married with Children is epic, and but maybe one of my favorite movies is Any Given Sunday.
Yeah,
and so
on Any Given Sunday,
Willie had the song.
Oh, he did.
I Keep the Ladies Steaming. That song. So I'm going Willie Beeman for the song.
Oh, and Greg is so butthurt.
Al, how does Al get left out?
Al Bundy left out because he knew I would take Al Bundy, and I would have. Was it 4 touchdowns? 4 touchdowns for East Polk High.
Yep.
But Shane Falco.
No Bourbon Bowl. That's college. No Bourbon Bowl.
No Bourbon Bowl.
No, he wasn't in the Bourbon Bowl.
He should have been. All right, give us another one, Greg. The thing about listen. I mean, obviously, it's he's here today, gone tomorrow, a replacement quarterback. But that's the best I could ever hope for.
The effing water boy transfers in and takes over your entire.
I would have picked him. I would have picked Bobby
linebacker?
Boucher number 1. If I could have picked number 1, I would have picked number 1. Bobby Boucher, 100%. But because he also
you wear a single bar face mask for F's sake.
He changed the entire game. He won college football games based on his tackling prowess.
And what did he do? He went home. Right back to his mama's house. Ate alligator.
Had some alligator and
Vicky
some snake.
Valancourt.
Action movie franchises. We each have to franchise one of these. One gets left on the trash heap. Rocky franchise. Terminator franchise. Die Hard franchise. Lethal Weapon franchise. All right. I get to pick first this time because you guys have both had a chance to pick first before me. I had no idea that this was on the list. So I know the one that I won't say it, but I know one I have no interest in at all.
Just answer your own question, Dad.
I am going to, I think, surprise some people because I am partial to the Lethal Weapon franchise. I love everything about it. I love the buddy comedy, the Mel and my main man, Senor Glover. They introduced I mean, Joe Pesci got famous during the Lethal Weapon thing. They had hotties, hot South African like models getting naked in the early ones. I mean, it had everything. The franchise had everything. And
This is like off the block, back of the blockbuster like movie itself. Is it? They got hot naked ones, dude.
yeah, I mean, Lethal Weapon, Murtaugh and Riggs are for me as good as it gets in terms of cop pairings in movie franchises. Listen, the this is a banger category, but I think I love the fact that I had the chance to pick number one, and thankfully there wasn't a what's his face. This isn't a Kwame Brown situation where like I made I had to take the futures. You know how I love futures. Lethal Weapon's a past. It's all about the past. You're up.
Welcome to the party, pal.
Oh.
It's too quotable. It's too darn good. People watch it for the holidays. Have to take it. Have to take Die Hard there.
Well, I mean, the
We'll do
ultimate,
five, Greg.
the ultimate.
Put
Just the
number 4 all the
ultimate
way up.
movie growing up. It's Rocky all day long. I mean, for God's sake,
Yes.
I got to go with it. The Terminator gets left in the cold, but the Rocky franchise, come on, man. Until 5, I was all in. All in. 5 was a tough one.
5 was a tough one. I knew Terminator was going to be left on the heap, and I'm happy with that. Let me ask you this: if I had taken Die Hard, what would you have taken? Rocky or Lethal Weapon?
Rocky.
And then if Rocky and Die Hard were taken, would you have taken Terminator or Lethal Weapon?
Lethal Weapon.
Okay. That's kind of what I was. That's my biggest concern, that I took the one that was going to be left out by the three of us. I think that Terminator. Unfortunately,
I like Terminator,
it's
but
fine.
I love the other 3, and I like Terminator.
What do you like better, the original Terminator or the original RoboCop?
Oh, good question.
I call that a robotical tie for me.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
In that you're like on both.
Yeah, pretty much.
RoboCop all the way.
I love them both. I mean, I have to pick one. I'm watching it right now. RoboCop.
Oh yeah, RoboCop's so good. Our own free agents wide receiver.
Ooh.
So now you got to act like you're a Skins fan for a moment, Derek, and you get to pick first. Outrageously. De'Ami Brown, Noah Brown, Olamide Zaccheaus, Jamison Crowder, our own 4 guys. So you're a team, Derek. You have a chance to pick one of those guys. Who are you taking first?
Crowder.
Really? That's crazy to me. I'm just gonna say it. I thought for sure he was the guy who was not going to be re-signed by us. Why? You have a lot of respect for that guy?
It's it's just you're putting me on the spot with these. I'm not.
He's a
as
pro.
versed.
He's a professional wide receiver.
Yeah,
He does great.
I mean, I've seen him make some big plays. He seems.
Oh yes, you did against the Eagles.
He seems reliable.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking about if I was throwing the ball.
It's an interesting perspective, Derek, because you're not a Commanders fan,
right.
and I looked at that list of 4, and I thought Jamison Crowder is the last one. But I also know
No way.
that
he's never going to be the last.
he is a absolutely pro. Kevin, you get to be second here.
Well, you know damn
Isn't
well.
that crazy that he took Jamison
I'm
Crowder
going with the
first?
most productive one of all 4 of them by far and away. Noah Brown, Mr. Hail
Yeah.
Mary, the dude that showed up and held down the number 2 spot for weeks and weeks on end until a vicious kidney, whatever the hell happened to him. I love Noah Brown. In fact,
I do.
he's my number 1 pick to bring back of all these dudes by far and
Over
away.
Zach Ertz?
By far and away. Noah Brown and Zach Ertz. I prefer
And Bobby Wagner?
Zach. Well, just take it easy, Ken. We got money for all these motherfuckers.
I know. I'm just putting you on. I love when you say that because I'm like, wait a second. I know how he feels about Bobby Wagner. All right. So, but isn't that crazy that he took Jamison Crowder first?
No, I love Crowder.
I do too,
So-
but I didn't think that he had that kind of outside the
Crowder would have
Beltway
been my
panache.
Crowder would have been my number 3 seed.
Okay. All right. So you took Noah, which is great. He took Jameson. Listen, I love Diami, but I'm going Alamani Zacchaeus. When we needed to get things done on random situations, just kidding. I've been saying Diami Brown for a year. I've been the leading cheerleader. I've been leading cheerleader for Diami Brown on the show, and I'm not stopping now. Diami, and listen, I don't think we're going to be able to keep him. I think someone's going to offer him a lot of money, more so than we're willing to pay. And hey, take the money, DB, unless he really wants to be here.
I don't know how much money. I don't know about all the monies you think he's getting, but I think he's going to get a couple monies, but not all these monies. He's going to be right here is where he's going to be with a little bit of money.
The way that so let's say we do succeed in trading Jonathan Brown and get that 5th round pick back, and essentially
Jonathan Allen.
Allen.
We can change.
How many Browns?
How many draft picks can we get for Jonathan Brown from? I'm not sure. Suitland Parkway. He's like 26. Huge fan of the team. Not really of the pod.
Not a friend of the pod necessarily. If we trade out Jonathan Allen, get that 5th round pick back, money goes again. Diami's already living in his house and driving his car. I think that there's still some super splashy signings that are day one bangers, and therefore that's why I'm worried that if you have to take like $20 million and spread that over 4 guys instead of 2 guys.
Yeah, but we're not spreading. Read the next question.
Hold on 1 second. We're talking about spreading money over free agents. All I'm
I have
saying
no
is,
idea what you're talking about at this point.
I think that because T. Higgins has been franchised and because of some of these wide receiver decisions around the league, I think Diami Brown elevates to way more
fucking near as good as T. Higgins.
No. I'm saying there is nobody available. There's no wide receivers available, and he's going to get money because of that.
Dude, look at his film. Noah Brown had triple the production in the same amount of games played.
I mean,
I'm just saying, like,
how much Derek's paying for eggs. It's like he's buying ostrich eggs.
What are you talking about? Eggs. I just made breakfast for dinner, you bastard.
Dude,
I went through 12.5 eggs at $35 tonight.
Dude, you basically ate. That was like a 5-star restaurant. It's like one of the.
I had to tickle you every time you laid one. That was weird. And the fact that you said I owed you $35 is also seems a bit high. Thank God Derek got here late.
A bit high. Question number 5.
Noah was my number 1.
All-time quarterbacks in their prime for one season. Oh, and I get to pick first. This is a great one. Thank you, by the way, for letting me pick first. Joe Montana, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Patrick Mahomes. All-time quarterbacks in their prime. And there's no Brett Favre on here, which is a little bit upsetting to me. I'm not going to lie. Because I love Brett. But actually, it's your pick.
I'm first for this one?
Because he picked first the last one.
Son of a bitch. Listen, I've said this forever. After he beat Dan Quinn with 4 come-from-behind drives or 5 in the freaking Super Bowl, I can't. He's the greatest. The questions asked. It's Tom effing Brady. I don't.
I'm so glad you did that.
I'm not proud of my answer.
Yeah. All right,
but that's the best answer.
I mean,
shit.
But love
one season. God damn it!
All-time quarterbacks in their prime for one season. I'm going. I would take Peyton over Patrick Mahomes. I love Joe Montana, but I'm talking in the current NFL. I'll give Peyton Manning that season. I thought he was just.
That was my other choice.
He's
I like Peyton so much more than Tom.
He's like a supercomputer, And Joe Montana is smooth and awesome. And I'm not taking Joe Montana because everyone talks about like he's not as big as the guys. I'm not worried about Joe Montana at all. He was a football player.
As accurate. We all know what accuracy means.
And he's tough as nails.
He's as accurate as anyone ever has been or will be.
Correct.
But
Peyton Manning.
So are these other guys.
Yeah. Peyton Manning didn't have Bill Walsh. Let's just say that.
That's
now I know
true.
he had a defensive minded head coach for the most part in Tony Dungy, and he got to basically call his plays. I love that. There's no guys right now. Who was the last guy who was allowed to call his own plays? Because Jim Kelly did it regularly. I know we had guys who did it here and there, but
Marino did it for eternity.
Yes, Marino did it for eternity. I don't know that between Marino and Kelly, that might be the last guys who were literally calling the plays. Yeah, sure.
I don't know though. Under Shanahan, he wasn't calling his own
Anyone, any of those older guys who were allowed to audible, I would argue in a sense were calling their own plays. We've seen here in Washington plenty of times when quarterbacks weren't allowed to do that.
It's why another reason why DB is so great. We're gonna have multiple plays called. We come to the line of scrimmage, we check into one out of the other, and you got that guy is the reason.
By the way,
not someone else. That guy.
If Jaden Daniels gets rushed off the field by pursued by a defensive player and he brushes past Cliff Kingsbury on the sidelines in the future, like how he famously runs back and when he was like, hey, on the next play, let's just go no huddle and this is the Debo play. You know what I mean? If he's I think Jaden Daniels does have the ability to become a quarterback who calls his own plays because he puts in the work.
Yeah,
there's no you can't be that guy.
He's called a lot of his own plays already.
He has called, and
yes,
so like we
but it's within this mind frame. They call 2 passes, 1 run, blah blah blah.
But we've had like RG3 was such a great athlete. He didn't watch a second of game film. He was never calling an offense. He was never calling plays. He was never doing any of it. All right, give us one bonus one so I can pick. Hold
on. We gotta see it. We got to get Derek's answer.
Oh, sorry, dude.
It's not a draft. I can just pick. I think Peyton for one season. Oh.
He took Tom. I took Peyton. So you have to choose between Joe Montana and Patrick Mahomes at their prime for one season.
Definitely Montana.
Yeah, I mean that's
not close.
I think on paper, if someone were to look at what we did and see that Joe Montana fell to you, it'd be hard not to be a Derek Elphick fan of that team.
Different era, but he would still light it up. He more so, I think, if he got set loose today.
The one thing about they say that different era, I understand there weren't like the Lawrence Taylors were just getting onto the scene. The next generation defensive athletes. However,
these guys got the shit kicked out of them.
It was a super physical game. That's exactly what I was about to say, Kevin. Yeah. They did not play. They played in a world where getting your face beat in was the sport. And so, like, there wasn't like will he or won't he. It was like, how bad is it gonna be? I mean, you got your ass beat up on a regular basis for that. So Joe Montana played in the era of quarterbacks getting the shit kicked out of them. So there's no. I don't know anyone worth their weight in salt who would suggest for 1 second that Joe Montana couldn't be successful in the NFL because of how accurate he is, Kev.
Of course not. He's Joe Montana.
He's Joe Montana. Bonus: one offensive player from any other team to add to ours. Now, that puts me in the catbird seat, which is what I was trying to say earlier. I ended up saying the bird seat, then he said the T-bird seat, but it's the catbird seat that I was trying to say. I'm going to get there eventually. So I get to go first. So one offensive player from any other team to add to ours. So this, God damn it. So you got to give me a second on this. I put it right on the screen right away. Let me just push through some things. I have an immediate answer, and I'm gonna check it against some other stuff real fast. Because I think there's two answers.
There's only two.
There's only two answers. I love. Wait, am I allowed to just like throw out
anyone?
Can I have a
I already know who I'm saying.
Okay, can I throw out some names and just be like talk about it for a second, or would you rather I not say any names besides the one I'm picking?
It's getting past my bedtime, and
No, I'll say I'll say because of I'm a futures guy, I'll say Brock Bowers. I think you put Brock Bowers on this team.
I thought we were just talking about this year.
One offensive player, for this year. Yeah. Well, going forward, I get a second year guy. I'm saying Brock Bowers. I think he's
I'm taking a 1 year guy for 1 year. That's how I'm reading it.
A 1 year guy for 1 year. Okay, then I'm changing it.
Yeah,
I'm changing my answer. I'm changing my answer.
Yeah, I'm saying take for this year.
For this year,
take one player from another team for this year. We're not doing futures, contracts, and freaking negotiations.
Jamar Chase.
Pretty good.
You're next. Oh, do we need to talk about that one?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
I was going to say Justin Jefferson, but there's someone else on the tip of my tongue. There's just someone on the tip of my tongue, too. But, that's what comes to mind first.
Bro, I only thought there was. I only had two pop into mind. One of them was Saquon, but I can give you my answer. It definitely won't be Derek's.
No, who is it going to be?
I said Justin, but
Justin. Okay.
There's someone else too that would just change everything.
Okay.
And I was thinking of it during the season. I got to get back to it.
Trent Williams at left tackle.
Oh, for 1 year.
Move Coleman over to the right. Get Wally backing up at both guard and both tackle spots. And we just got a whole lot effing better with the best tackle in the game for the last 6 years that has not been playing for us.
Trent Williams. I mean, adding Jahmyr Gibbs, by the way, is a great answer, Robert Cohen.
Oof.
I think he definitely deserves to be on the short list.
Yes. I was going to say Saquon, and I didn't even think Gibbs at the time, but I didn't want to say running back right away because I've been really pushing this line shit.
If you had Jahmyr Gibbs,
we got to stop the run and run the ball. Yeah, but if you had Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel,
exactly,
with JD5 and Terry McLaurin, and
I'm ready to. I'm super pissed that Kansas City franchised Trey Smith. I would have backed the truck up of money to his house. Clearly, there's a reason why they franchised him because the dummy like me would have given him whatever it took to play here. Then obviously
you were about to back up your car up to his house with like hundreds of dollars, tens of dollars. But so that sucks, and I'm not trading 2 firsts for a guard. I'd be interested to see if Ronnie Stanley is still available at any point in time because Ravens never let guys like that leave. I would now, to me, Trey Smith and Ronnie Stanley was like the holy grail of offensive line upgrading by free agency. So if you give me Ronnie Stanley, done. I'll move Brandon Coleman to right tackle for him all day. He had a great year last year, and again, what we talked about today was deliberate because we talked about a wide receiver or a defensive lineman in the first or second round. If we sign Ronnie Stanley, it affords us the luxury of staying defensive lineman, wide receiver in the first or second round. Otherwise, we have got to draft an offensive lineman in one of those 2 picks. So, whatever. It's all fluid. There's lots of options. Yes, I think one of them is for us to get off air.
I love. By the way, this guy.
Like an hour and 40 minutes, and honestly. All I can hear is white noise and Ronnie Stanley. At the end of every show for the last 4 weeks, Ken starts Ronnie Stanleying around. Milton, Ronald.
No,
and
Milton
Ernest.
Williams.
And Ronald and Milton.
And Ernest Jones.
Have I talked about Ernest yet?
Dude, if we sign a Milton, an Ernest, and a Debo, those are some banger first names of free agents to sign.
Hey, I wanted to tell you guys, I was sending someone the show, right?
Yeah.
And then I started scrolling through like the old episodes, right? Like going back. And I started watching one where you had the old setup.
Yeah, which one? Like the poker table?
Yeah.
Okay.
And now it's like, I love the set. You appreciate the setup so much more. I saw the old setup and I was like, holy smokes.
I was on a hobby horse for back-to-back weeks at one point. The old setup, Joe, it's nails. When you look at it, you're like, what the? Did we win this in a poker match?
It's a cool vibe because it's like, hey, it's like I'm dropping in on some guys, like either planning a bank robbery or maybe doing a podcast.
So it was a great poker table. And it was like a legit poker table size. I got that table using frequent. I had award points with Southwest. So back in like you're talking like 10 plus years ago when it was like Wheel of Fortune. You're like I'll have the grandfather clock, the ski trip, the love seat combo, couch combo, and the rest of the gift card.
The popcorn maker.
Yeah, the popcorn maker. So like I'm like 20, my late 20s, early 30s, and I'm like I have all these Southwest points that I can't use, and it's called a Fat Cat poker table. It cost me most of my points, and I'm like, send that to me immediately. And it was pretty wobbly, and it wasn't, but it served us great for our first years. I loved it. I would love to have a poker table again. But man, and by the way, That thing was being held together by rubber bands and prayers, but for the last couple years. And exactly. It was bad. But appreciate everybody hanging out with us. I want to say thank you to Derek for hanging out with us by the end here. To all the folks on the board.
It's so fun, but it's so creepy that he's not on.
Yeah, I know, but he refused.
I like it.
I do
like
too.
it. Instead of blacking out his face, it's amazing.
Exactly. It's always tough because you have to keep the camera. If you're doing a POV, you have to keep the camera just right above, right below his neck, which is hard because he's active. He's super active. He's Kevin Ricca.
Thank you very much for sticking with us this much. Appreciate it, Greg. That was fun. Let's get it down again next week. Hopefully the deboners have subsided, and we've got I don't know, a big old Garrett in our pocket. What else?
We'll see. Garrett, Miles Garrett, Garrett Wilson. There's multiple Garretts that are on the
Mrs.
block.
Garrett could be new team up.
Mrs. Garrett.
There's so many Garrett options.
I'm gonna write that name down. Mrs. Garrett. She deserves to be thought of. And
Mrs. G.
We have the room. I'm Ken Meringolo on behalf of First Amendment Sports. Thank God it's Tuesday. We're still live. Thanks for hanging out with us, boys and girls. We have a lot of girls who watch the show. It's actually mostly girls. If I'm being honest, it's
fucking
mostly girls.
That's why we got started in this game.
Ambulance comes and they caught me away and I died, never know.
I have to fast forward past the potentially offensive lyrics. Always makes me think of the Beach Boys, EO. Always makes me think of the Beach Boys. We're still live.